Hey guys, episode 29 of Travel Bros Pod. We are back, and sorry about last week. I had an extra long vacation and I did not count the number of episodes we needed to record correctly before I left. So we did miss a week. We're back in action. Amy, while I was gone traveling around Asia, returned to Orlando, Florida, I think his favorite destination on earth.
I definitely see a
And
lot of that green carpet in the Orlando airport.
And he's got a great hotel. I think he's going to talk to us about one that I didn't even really know existed or was on my radar. And it sounds like he had a fun time. With that being said, we're talking Ritz-Carlton Orlando. I think two things to knock out, Jamie, before you dig too deep into this. Since I'm unfamiliar with this property, I think the correct name, right, is the Ritz-Carlton Orlando Grand Lakes.
It is.
What are the alternative properties in a price point that I would be booking instead of this property? And then where is it?
I feel like this kind of lands in a similar category as maybe the Conrad Orlando. Say that for a couple reasons. Pricing probably going to be similar, and it's also kind of a destination into itself, right? This isn't necessarily something where there's nothing to do there and you're just staying here to be able to go to theme parks. Similar to the Conrad in Orlando, like you could come here and make a vacation out of it. There's enough activities and things like that. And I joke that it's kind of conveniently located in the middle of nowhere. I had no idea where this was before I stayed here. It's close-ish to SeaWorld, but it's not far from anything. So 15 minutes from the airport, 15 minutes or so from Universal, a little bit further, probably about 25 minutes to Disney. So it's kind of by itself, but it's not too far from much of anything really. So convenient Ubers pretty much everywhere. I think when I Ubered to Universal, I don't even think we got on the highway. I think we just took back roads the whole way there. And it was like 15 minutes.
Excellent. And before we dig into the property itself, you want to tell us what you were doing in Orlando? Is that relevant? Is that secret we can reveal?
So what's funny, it started out that I was actually coming down just to check out this property. I've been to Orlando probably hundreds of times, and I hadn't stayed here before. I booked it for whatever reason, schedule didn't line up or whatever. But this has been on my list to come check out, do a review on. After I booked it, they released preview tickets for Epic Universe. So I jumped on that. And while I was down here checking out the Ritz, I actually went over and got to check out the new park, Epic Universe, that just officially opened a couple weeks ago. It was pretty awesome, amazing. It was very busy, but it's definitely worth checking out. It was operating kind of limited capacity. Some rides weren't open because it was a preview. The day I was there, they were actually filming a bunch of commercials. So that was kind of cool to see the filming and everything going on at the end of the day. But I am going back down in about a month or so, and I'll do a full review on Epic Universe once I actually get to ride all the rides.
Nice. That sounds exciting.
It was cool.
How did you wind up at the Ritz
Yeah, again,
Carlton? What's your initial thoughts?
yep. So again, I've tried to check out pretty much every hotel or hotel that most people would want to check out in Orlando. This was one that I hadn't been to yet. I've done all the Disney hotels. I've done Waldorf, Four Seasons, Conrad, you kind of name it, Swan, Dolphin, and Ritz has been on my list. I hadn't stayed here before. It was recently renovated. I say recently, it's probably been 3 or so years now. So all the rooms had been updated and I booked people here before, but I hadn't personally stayed here. So it's been on my list to check out. So that was kind of my main focus for going down here. Initial thoughts about the property. It is massive. So it sits on 500 acres. And I believe this is the largest by room count Ritz-Carlton in the world. I believe it has 582 rooms. So that is a really large hotel. Most Ritz-Carltons probably have on average in the 200-ish range, I would imagine. So this is a pretty large property. That being said, there's so much to do here. Like I said, it is 500 acres, but there's endless activities. So you could come here probably for 5 days and just stay on property and experience all the different stuff there is to do. It shares grounds with the JW Grand Lakes. So they're kind of side by side. One cool thing when you're staying at the Ritz though, is as a Ritz guest, you have access to all the JW amenities, their pool, water park and things, but it's not reciprocal. So you don't have JW guests coming over to the Ritz pool, but as a Ritz guest, you have access to go over and visit the JW pool, which is really a water park. So if you have kids, this is where you're going to probably want to spend your time. It's a short walk along the water over to the water park. It's got a lazy river. It's got water slides. It's really, really impressive.
Tell us about the room you were in.
I had a buddy come stay with me. So we had a 2-queen, I want to say it's a Lakeview room. So my room looked out over the Ritz-Carlton swimming pool and the lake that's out that way. It's in a very flat area, so you can see for miles in every direction. So from my balcony, I could see all the Disney theme parks. I could see all the Universal theme parks. So anytime there's fireworks of any sort at any of these parks, you're going to be able to see them from the balcony, which is really cool. So, if you are here and you're not doing the parks, it's kind of cool. Sit out on your balcony in the evening and you can watch all the different fireworks shows, whether it's Epcot, Magic Kingdom, if Universal's doing something. That's really cool. The rooms, I think they did a really nice job renovating them. It was just really nice, like bright, light, like Florida colors. I got a really cool welcome amenity. It was like alligator themed. So there was a little chocolate gator on it, some different like fruits and stuff. I just thought it was neat, kind of playing off the Florida vibe. So room was really cool. The mini bar, I have a couple videos and pictures of it, but the mini bar was really a neat setup. It was like not a roll top, but it kind of lifted open to like show, to get to all your stuff. So just kind of a neat furniture. I thought it was really well done. But yeah, I think they did a great job with the renovations. Rooms were, they're probably 500-ish square feet. So very comfortable, standard rooms for the two of us. So
What about, have you looked at any like good family options to stay here hotel wise?
So they do a really good like executive suite. I want to say fairly standard for most Ritz-Carltons. I feel like the executive suite's a good option with families. So you got, your master bedroom, then you'll have the living room, fold out couch. Let me just look and see what kind of suites do we have here. I'm looking real quick to see if they do a family suite or not. Yeah, I think the executive suite is kind of the way to go there. I was just trying to see if I was missing anything. So the executive suites also can connect to lakefront double queen rooms. So it turns into a 2-bedroom suite, which I believe is going to sleep up to 8 people. So you'd have the king bed. You would then have the fold out couch, which will hold 2. And then you've got another 4 in the 2-queen option. So the layouts, I mean, you could do extended family even if you wanted to.
Pretty awesome.
What's interesting, even their king rooms some of the king rooms have sofa beds, which is kind of cool.
All right, Jamie. So I know you travel, just you and +1, but if you've got a family, what's the best setup you found at this hotel for people?
You got a couple options. So if you're limited by budget, I think, if they're a family of 4, you can do a 2-queen room. So that's an option. Now, if you want some more space, you want to spread out and you've got the budget to allow it, I think one of the really nice options here is the executive suites actually connect to a 2-queen room, which that opens up a lot of space for a family to not feel cramped at all. So with the executive suite, you're going to have, king bedroom, you're going to have the living space of the executive suite, and then you can connect a 2-queen lake view room. So that's going to give you room for the kids. So 2 more beds, a whole other bathroom, which really, kind of frees up space. You're not sharing the bathroom. You're not crowding each other, getting ready, getting changed, stuff like that. So I feel like if you're coming with a family and budget allows, I think that's a really great option.
Perfect. Anything else room wise?
I think one thing that I didn't get to experience it, but the Ritz-Carlton Club level, I think we've talked about it a little bit before. Ritz-Carlton Club level really is probably one of the best club levels of hotels out there. A lot of club levels at hotels you can get with status, things like that. Ritz-Carlton Club level, regardless of what status you have with Marriott, is not getting you a club access. So it's a really elevated experience because it is paid, it is fairly expensive, but you get a lot for your money. So Ritz-Carlton does 5 daily presentations of food. So you've basically got like breakfast, lunch, say dinner, evening, like appetizers. Then they also do like snacks and desserts. So there's a lot of really high quality, good options there. Particularly, I think where this becomes appealing is we talked about this is a property where you could come and basically just spend a lot of time here and not go out to the parks and go do other things. So if you were coming here to do a staycation, and I say a staycation, not just meaning like, hey, it's local staycation. Like if you're coming here to stay on property and enjoy all the amenities and things here, you could really get your money's worth doing a club level room. You could basically do essentially all your meals there if you wanted to for a couple days. They do that good a job with the food. So it's another option if you're going to be spending a lot of time here and you don't want to worry about where you're going to eat your meals. That's kind of a cool thing to do.
Perfect. Let's pause real quick before we get too deep into the woods with this episode 2. What is the benefits we can provide booking through us?
That's a great question. So this is a STARS property, which what we get with Marriott STARS, we're able to offer you breakfast for 2 daily, $100 property credit, A welcome amenity, which I hit on that one that I got. So we can do something similar to that for you. Early check-in, late checkout based on availability, and upgrade based on availability. So typically that's going to be, the next level room up or view up, things like that. So really good value. The breakfast here, it's at a place called Highball and Harvest. I did the buffet while I was there, and it is a really good buffet. And they also do made to order omelets and stuff as part of the buffet. It was one of the nicer buffets I've been to, breakfast buffets I've been to in a long time. It was just really well presented. Everything was really high quality. I really enjoyed it. I wish I remembered the name, but the lady that, and apparently she's like well known here. So the lady that does the omelets, she seemed to know everybody that was out there. She came out, she was saying hi to people that were at the tables, things like that, to the point where when I checked out, the guy at the checkout desk was like, "Hey, did you meet so-and-so at breakfast this morning?" And I'm like, "No," but as soon as he said that, it kind of clicked. I'm like, that had to be the lady that was out. So I think she's like a local celebrity at the hotel. I wish I had her name because I'd give her a shout out here.
Good. So look for the omelet lady.
Look for the omelet lady.
Perfect. And then you can also book, because you had just mentioned like club level rooms, like we can do that and provide all the additional benefits with club level as well.
Yeah, so even with club level, right? So if you want to go to the buffet in the morning, you still get the additional property credit. That's really kind of a nice benefit. And from time to time, there will be some other promotions and stuff going on. Right now, when I looked, there was if you do at least 3 nights, there's a pretty decent discount on the price. If you do a shorter stay, there was a additional $200 property credit on a 2-night stay. So if you did a 2-night stay, that seemed like the better deal. If you were doing 3 or longer, the discounted room rate seemed to kind of offset the additional property credit. So we're always checking to see what the best option is, but at minimum, you're getting breakfast, $100 credit, welcome amenity, upgrade, early check-in, late checkout based on availability. And then if there's other promotions going on, we can check those out for sure. And added, if you are a Marriott person, you still get all your nights and points and things like that, just like Book and Direct.
I love it. Perfect. So while we had some technical difficulties in the delays of here, I've had a chance to look around this property a ton. And I want to start talking about the amenities and things on property, but I want to take this show over for a second and talk about their Ritz Kids section. And I know we've given a pretty big compliment to Ritz Kids before, but man, I think this would be the easiest. I've just been looking around looking at what they have. I think this would be the easiest kids club I'd ever have my daughter to go to. It is full of live animals. So they have a resident dog. It looks like a golden retriever. Looking through the videos, they've got parrots, a baby alligator, sea turtles. They have a fish tank. They have a rabbit. So there's videos kids feeding the rabbit. I mean, my daughter's big into animals. So I was just we've said that Ritz Kids is usually a really cool program, but I saw that and they have a huge indoor space, it looks like, and then they've got a decent sized outdoor space as well, which half the year, God knows, you don't want to be out in Orlando. But yeah, kids don't really care, right? That's a grown-up issue, so you can send them out here. But I definitely could see my daughter just lapping it up in this place. That looks really cool. What else were you able to dig up amenity and things to do wise around the property?
So I will just agree with you. I walked by the kids club, and I try not to look like too much of a creeper when I'm by myself without the kids, but I was definitely checking out. I'm like, it was a very impressive kids club. And I'll hit on some of the things that even outside the kids club. So there's the kids club, and most of the amenities and things that you're going to do are located in between the Ritz and the JW. So as I was walking, there's this covered hallway that kind of goes to where if you're going to walk your kids to the kids club. In that hallway, so even completely separate from the kids club, there was ping pong, there was 3 or 4, I think there was a pool table. There was 3 or 4 different tables of activities that kids or teens, it would be a great place to hang out and play. And then you've got the kids club and that outdoor space for the kids club. So that was awesome. There's a big field they had little soccer goals and stuff set up. So there's tons of open space for kids to play. There was bocce ball just set up out there that you could hang out and play. There was just tons of outdoor activities. There was, the giant chess that you could do. So there was tons of stuff that you could just walk up and kind of take over and start playing with. But in addition to that, there's tons of organized and things that you could plan and book ahead of time. So I have a list here of some of the activities that you can do, things that I would have never guessed. So they do eco tours. So they do canoe and kayak eco tours, guided eco tours through the lakes or the creek there. They do a sunrise safari on all-terrain golf carts where they take you out to see deer, otter, alligator, birds, and all the different wildlife that's in the area.
Okay.
They've got archery lessons. So you could schedule archery lessons. They have a falconry experience, so you can schedule to do falconry. There's mountain biking, there's fishing excursions. They have a place where you could just rent, like, I think they had paddle boats and canoes and stuff that you could just rent and take out on your own. I know we've talked about before, I'm not a big golfer, but they have a 18-hole Greg Norman golf course there. They've got tennis and pickleball courts. So I went and checked those out, which looked really nice. So you've got tennis and pickleball if you're into that. One of the coolest things there, it's at the JW, so it's the water park in the lazy river. It was awesome. I went and checked that out. It is a really nice lazy river. It's long. It like winds in and out. There's tons of like lush greenery and everything around it. So that's really cool. And it feeds into pools. So you could like hang out in the pool, then like float into the lazy river, hang out in a different pool, pop back in the lazy river. So that's awesome. And then they had tons of, I say tons, there's 3 or 4 water slides there that looked really great for the kids. So that's a really fun option. The Ritz pool, right? So I think I'd go to JW with the kids, hang out at the water park. I really like the Ritz pool though. They have tons of cabanas and stuff that you can rent there. But what I thought was the highlight, the hot tub they had there is massive. It's just, I thought it was like a kiddie pool at first until I stuck my foot in, but it's just this big round giant hot tub. It's got like a, I don't know, a big thing that sticks up in the middle that there's water flowing out of. But it was really nice. I think they renovated the pool area as well a couple of years ago. And they did a really great job. So there's tons of outdoor space here. There's tons of outdoor activities. Like I said, you could come here for a few days and just, particularly with kids, like there'd be activities to do every single day.
Yeah, and it even looks like there's like a decent sized splash pad, and like I saw somewhere else too, like an outdoor playground.
Yeah, so there's a nice playground. I don't remember if it's inside or outside the kids club, but there was definitely a playground there. I'm trying to think what other things I saw that were really cool. I think the Ritz Kids program looked awesome. Like they had tons of activities inside and outside for them. One thing that they had, and I'd have to look up and see what the schedule of events are and what it actually entails, but it was happening the day I arrived, and I remember seeing something about it online. They do something with supercars. I don't know if you get to drive them or if it's just like there so you can check them out. But when I got there the first day, there was a couple Ferraris, Lamborghini, I think a McLaren. There was a bunch of different like supercars parked out, and there was a bunch of like hotel guests there checking them out, taking pictures and stuff. So I have to go back and look and see what exactly that was, but I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool. And then just as a note, each slide seems to have a different height requirement.
Oh, that's a good call out.
When I'm looking there, seems like if you're over 48 inches, you can do everything at the water park. If you're under 48, the Rapids seems to be 42. The Current seems to be 40. So I think 48 inches and above, you don't have to worry about being able to do everything. But that was like, I was able to find that as a note. Well, so just keep that in mind as a good number.
So I just pulled this up. So I think this sounds like it may be a club level guest exclusive event, but it's called the Corsa Exotic Car Experience. And it says, experience the thrill of driving an exotic car for 15 to 20 minutes. Access a fleet of luxury vehicles, including Rolls-Royce, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Bentley, McLaren, and Aston Martin. So maybe I can find out some more info about the event, but that was going on. Like when I arrived, those were all parked out front. And I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool.
That does sound pretty fun.
And it didn't seem like there was a cost to it if you were staying club. Like it seemed like the last time I looked at it, it was I think it's included.
I mean, that's a good reason to stay club level for sure. It does, from the best I can tell, it does look like there is like a little playground outside of the kids club as well, with like a climbing structure, slide rope. It looks like there's like a mini putt area next to that too. Yeah. But it's also hard to, like, you were saying there's like the JW and the Ritz, but like you can do everything, right? Like it's not like if you're staying at one property, you can go everywhere in between the two.
So my understanding is Ritz has access to all the JW, but not vice versa. So I think if you're staying at the JW, I don't think you can do the Ritz kids activities and things like that. I think that's Ritz exclusive. But if you're staying at the Ritz,
so there's really almost no reason to stay at the JW then, unless it's just significantly cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting location for the water park if that's a major thing. Like you can just walk down versus having to walk 100 yards over or whatever it is. But yeah, I think that the Ritz is probably the more compelling offer, in my opinion. A couple other things to hit on. I didn't get to experience the spa. It was such a short trip, but there's the spa is huge. It's 40,000 square foot spa, and it has its own pool as well. And the pool area for the spa itself is nicer and bigger than most hotels' pool areas, like standalone pool areas. So that's kind of a nice benefit. If you're looking to get away from, you don't want any kids around, you want to just relax, so you can go to the spa, hang out at the spa pool. Going to be a nice, quiet, kind of chill area.
We got to talk about this spa. Digging around on the internet, it seems like they have robot massages.
Interesting.
How do you feel about a robot massage?
I don't know yet. I haven't had one.
I
In theory, I think it sounds good.
I see. In theory, I think it doesn't. But then, like, this is my question: does a robot massage cost more than a regular massage, or is it less than a
I would
regular
have to assume it's
massage?
less, would be my hope.
I think it's gonna be more,
Then I'm
but
out. I'm out.
it just seems like, I don't know, the technology's not quite there for it to be cheaper. I mean, it looks like it had a lot of cool features, and it weirdly looks like I'm just watching a video that, what someone's doing, but this lady basically put on like a scuba suit, from what I could gather.
Oh, weird.
But I think it has some kind of like sensors or sensory things for like the robot to know where it's supposed to be massaging.
Okay.
And then I saw in the menus, it's like you can say, hey, work on my mid back for 5 minutes, my lower back for 4, soft and relaxing, rest and restore. But like it looked like a lot of options. And then you could pick, like, she like turned on like calming water and rain, and like, and it's interesting. Listen,
If I
I
go back,
might go to
I
the
would check
Ritz
it out.
to try this. She walked around the spa a lot too. It does look like a very impressive spa in general. But anyway, if you're staying at the Ritz, I highly recommend this robot massage. Hopefully it's cheaper than a regular massage. You can use your credit that Jamie and I are going to provide for you for your robot massage. Anyway, I found that was interesting. There's a lot of social content when I look around for this property. People are hyped on this robot massage. I wanted to throw that out there since you brought up the spa.
I was just pulling up the spa menu to see if it's on there, and I don't see it necessarily pulled out separately.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, I was trying to see if it was on there. Yeah,
I feel like it's got to be more expensive.
I don't know. Definitely worth checking out. I'm interested.
Okay, let me read you about this. It's from a company called Escape. It says Ritz-Carlton offers a robotic massage experience called Escape, a massage system that utilizes AI and robotic arms to deliver a personalized, customized massage. So they're using the word AI, so it's not going to be cheap. The which I might not be saying this brand name, but it's the word escape with the letter A in the front. In the yellow pages, it shows up on the first.
That's right. Front row.
Page. The escape system scans your body and allows you to control various aspects of your massage, including pressure, intensity, music, lighting. The system is available at various Ritz-Carlton properties, including Ritz-Carlton Orlando Grand Lakes and the Ritz-Carlton Santa Barbara.
Interesting.
It said various Ritz-Carltons and then listed 2 of them.
2?
So various is maybe a stretch, but this might be the future of massages. We could try one out. I'd like to dig up the pricing on that. I would be curious to see how it
how it compares.
says. Hold on. I found something on. So this is a plot twist. I'm on Escape's website, and it looks like you can book it through their website.
Okay.
Please hold. Let me see. 32803. Just give it like a Orlando area code. See what I can help me out with here. So it looks like it is $110 for 30 minutes.
So that's probably comparable. I think when I looked, the 50-minute was like $230. So
Yeah,
220.
So
for an hour. It's about the same.
60-minute massage is $200.
Okay. Yeah. So it's similar. It's $30 cheaper ish.
And I guess you don't have to tip the machine,
I would hope
the
not.
robot.
Let's hope not.
Well, man, we've uncovered some interesting things about this property. I mean, it also seems like from their website, you're getting full access to the spa, like before your booking.
Yeah. And
So that is.
And I was going to
nice.
say, in addition, like right over there, their fitness center was also really impressive. That's something I always like to check out. I mean, it's not like a lot of hotels you go to. It's like a little closet with a couple free weights and a treadmill. I mean, there was probably a couple dozen treadmills and, cardio, dumbbells, free weights. Like it was a full on, is a gym, not just like a little fitness center. So very impressive facility, I would say.
Nice.
And as I've been clicking around, I don't know what kind of quality this is, but it seems like they do a family magic show pretty regularly here. So this is a big convention hotel. So I imagine in some of the convention space or in the meeting space, they put the magic show on. And it also seems like at a pretty regular cadence. I'm guessing is it every Saturday night maybe? They do fireworks over the summer?
Okay. I was going to say this. The magician is Drew Thomas. You beat me to this. I was going to bring this up as well. It says he does a show Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. And apparently he is an America's Got Talent finalist.
I would have liked to check that out while I was there just to see what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, clearly you should have listened to our podcast before you went to the Ritz Orlando to learn about all of this useful stuff. When we started this episode, I thought there was no way I'd consider a stay at the Ritz-Carlton Orlando, but I I feel a little converted in my time here.
I feel like I've almost felt bad that I went to go to that Epic Universe preview. Like I would have liked more time at the property to actually, I lost basically a whole day going to do that. So I would have liked more time to spend there and actually do some of like the mountain biking or some of these activities. So I'd like to get back there where I can actually spend, more time enjoying what's there versus, when I was down there, I was kind of on a mission to check this out so we could talk about it, and I didn't get to enjoy it as much as I would have liked to. So I wouldn't mind getting back down there at some point.
Yeah, man, I'm really liking this. Even just like I clicked around some things, I kind of like their pool cabana setups as well. Like, it looks like
I
a
got a couple
nice.
of videos of the cabanas there. The ones at the Ritz pool were like a really nice setup. You kind of lounge area, TV, you had the fridge. It was a good setup.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even just the idea of some of these things like the animal safari and the eco kayak tours, hoping you don't get eaten by an alligator. But
Yeah, right.
always a chance, I guess.
I didn't eat a ton while I was here, but I'll hit on a couple of the restaurants real quick.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, let's cover that.
I did the breakfast, and that was at, I believe it was Highball and Harvest. They have I'm not sure if it's Michelin starred or Michelin suggested restaurant, but it's called Knife and Spoon. So that's kind of like their steak and seafood, a little bit higher end restaurant. I didn't get a chance to eat there. There's a grab and go spot right kind of off the main lobby. So that has like, sandwiches and some just easy, quick grab and go stuff. So that was good. I did that just for when I first got there. They've got their pool bar and restaurant called Blue, Bleu, I believe. I didn't get a chance to eat there, but looked pretty good, and the front desk recommended it. So I would definitely check that out if I was spending some time at the pool. And then they've got the lobby bar. I didn't get a chance to go to the lobby bar, but it seemed like they had some like light bites and stuff like that there for the evening.
Nice. And then something else cool that happens there as well is the PNC Championship. It looks like in December. It's a father-son golf contest.
That's pretty cool.
Basically. Yeah. It's been there since 2012. Like in 2021, John Daly the second won.
It's fun.
And so I saw some familiar names through there as well.
That'd be cool to be there for.
I agree.
Some celebs coming through.
And it looks like it's so I mean, it says that its coverage is across NBC and the Golf Channel, and I think last year they had 20 teams and the prize pool was over $1 million. So it's not nothing for a golf event. And I imagine it's probably not the most busy.
Yeah, I'd probably agree.
Ritz-Carlton December, like probably get very like close, more hands-on access than going to like Waste Management or some kind of, PGA event or something like that.
And I will say this is a tip that I would give, particularly if you're coming to do more of a staycation and not go anywhere. Like I said, it's 15 minutes from the airport. I would probably Uber here. Parking is valet only, and it's $65. And in Orlando, that's brutal to me. I don't think there's any shortage of land or parking spaces. So I was fully planning on doing self-parking, and I was thinking, yeah, $25-$30 maybe for self-parking, and it was valet only for $65 a night. So that adds up pretty quickly if you're going to be there for 5-6 days, and you don't plan on going out a whole bunch. I would say Uber or schedule a car service to bring you here, and then save your $65 a night.
I mean, that's probably more than your car rent.
It pretty much was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because
I was generally
Generally, Orlando seems to be really cheap for car rent.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like $200 for 3 or 4 days or however long I was down there. My valet parking wound up being like, $140 or something after tax, $150.
Yeah, and another note too, there is a Hertz desk at that hotel chain. I think the hotel desk is actually at the Hertz, the Hertz is actually at the JW, but I'm sure you could sort it out being over at the Ritz too. So like, if maybe you had one day we're going to do a ton of driving, I wonder if you could sort it out with the Hertz where you could just rent it that morning, drive to Universal, go do a bunch of stuff, or if you're going to do the outlets and then just return at the end of the day. Even if they charge you a premium renting it at the hotel, you'd probably be less than the 65 extra bucks.
Yeah, I would agree.
There is a First Drop espresso and brew bar there, which we've covered in the Hong Kong episode. In case you don't listen to every episode and tune in, Ritz-Carlton has their own exclusive coffee, and so that is available at that location. So just another note, and it's a really good coffee that I do enjoy. So if you're a coffee fan, I would say the Ritz brew that they make, or the Ritz beans, I guess, that they roast for Ritz-Carlton properties is really good.
I think that may be it. Do we got any more? What else do we want to hit?
I have a question. Can we book the Ritz-Carlton residents that are here?
Yeah, they show up in the STARS program.
Perfect. Do you want to maybe pull one or two of those up and talk about that?
Yeah. Pull these up. See if I can get a price on one of these things. How much you think? How much you think?
8,000.
Yeah. Let it finish loading. So they are, if budget is not an issue whatsoever for you, we can book you these Ritz-Carlton residences, and they are pretty fantastic looking. I drove by them and I could see them. I didn't know what they were at the time until I did a little bit of research. So a lot of them look out over either some kind of water, lake, or the golf course. And they start at 3-bedroom residences. And I just pulled a random couple nights in the middle of August. And I'll just give you a comparison. So the base level room at the Ritz-Carlton for August 12th through August 15th was in the mid $400 range. So just base room. If you want extra space and you're bringing your family and you want to do one of these residences, we can get you into a 3-bedroom residence, which is 1 king bedroom, a queen room, and then another room with a king. This is a lakefront view with its own little private pool for the low price of $7,000 per night. But this does include breakfast for 2 per bedroom daily and the $100 property credit, which helps offset this premium price tag. But for real, if you were coming and you need the space, whether you're entertaining, I could see maybe if you were, you're doing a wedding or something like that, you want some space where the family can all hang out, get together, kind of away from the hustle and bustle. These villas or residences are really, really nice. The furniture looks really high quality. The finishes look really high quality. Having your own pool is kind of neat. It's got washer, dryer. I mean, it looks like it's a fancy house essentially. And they've got 3-bedroom, 4 bedrooms, and they're all really, really beautiful.
Maybe a cool option for like a guy's golf trip. Do a weekend. You can get 7 or 8 people in there, $1,000 a night, 2 nights, and then you've got a nice house on property. Everyone's got free breakfast, and then you go play all day without having to leave the property.
It's definitely, I mean, it could definitely be a cool option. And I don't know if these prices, I haven't messed around too much with it. These may not swing as drastically as say like a standard room, right? I don't know if this stays stagnant throughout the year where, hotel prices, it could go from 400 to easily up over 1,000 a night for a base room here during like a peak time, where these may not do that. I don't know.
Nice. Yeah. And I think interestingly, just wrapping up before we cover this, it looks like they really go all out for 4th of July weekend. So if you're looking for something to do on 4th of July weekend, they have like this is just something I pulled from like what they did last year. They had a Grey Goose cherry ice cream experience on July 3rd. They did an Independence Day buffet. You had an option to participate for dinner that night. Then the actual 4th of July has so much stuff going on, but they brought in, I forget what you call all those like huge inflatable slides and things. They did face painting. They did tequila tasting for the adults. They brought an escape room in one of the ballrooms for the day.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they had a live band play at the Ritz-Carlton pool. They had a kids extravaganza at the Ritz pool. They had face painting. They did a 4th of July dinner at Highball and Harvest. Then they also offered that same buffet for Independence Day. And then they did sunset fireworks and champagne at the Ever Bar Terrace. And then 9 p.m. is the fireworks show. And then I watched some video of the fireworks show, and it looked awesome. And then they even had stuff rolling into the next day. They did inflatable water slides for Friday, July 5th. They had a live DJ from 12 to 5, family games. They did a collaboration with Gatorland, and it looks like they brought a bunch of baby alligators that had their mouth taped that kids were holding in a bunch of pictures. Same thing with the escape room. They did a coconut cartel rum tasting. They offered those same dinner options as well. And then somehow the stuff kept going. Like my head hurts. There's just so much stuff going on. Saturday, July 6th, they did a 5K on property.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Starting at 7:30 a.m., which I'm going to complain is a little late for my taste because I'm sure the sun is already up and you're cooking out there. It is only a 5K. And same thing, like live DJ, the Knife Burger at the pool did poolside tastings, more music, a different tequila tasting, face painting, family games, a lot of they brought fire dancers out that night. They did a silent disco from 9 to 11, and they did another fireworks show on Saturday. So I don't know what the prices look like for 4th of July, but I noticed that seemed to be like a weekend they really, really went all out. So if you're looking for something for 4th of July, I will sadly be at Baha Mar without fireworks, maybe with fireworks. Who knows? We'll see.
They'll do fireworks, I think.
Will they? So nice of them to celebrate America's birthday in the Bahamas. Maybe this is on my list for a future 4th of July year. It does seem pretty interesting here. Yeah, I don't know. I like a lot about this place the more I've looked at it. Like you said, these Ritz residents are gorgeous. I definitely
Yeah, they look nice.
find some families to do that and find a cheap weekend there. I need a 4th night free Ritz residence from me and cook up for me.
So I just pulled the 4th of July stuff this year, very similar to last year. They got silent disco, movies under the stars. They got the run, inflatable water slides, face painting, balloons, live music, steel drummer. Like this would be a great spot for 4th of July.
Yeah, it seems nice. And then, 4th of July is somewhere I don't want to be driving anyway, or, on the road, those kind of weekends. So it seems like you could just do everything there, which I really appreciate.
And I just pulled pricing just to get a feel for
Okay.
it. So 4th of July weekend, I pulled July 3rd, so Thursday through July 7th, Monday. Obviously, you could do shorter, but the 3 nights seems to be at least 3 nights is a sweet spot. It's like $450 a night.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, I mean that's for just a resort view king room. Obviously, it goes up from there, but I feel like that's very reasonable for Ritz-Carlton holiday weekend with all these activities and stuff going on.
Yeah, that's a great deal. Perfect. Well, I think we've got this one in the bag. If you are not excited about the Ritz, I'll make sure in our show notes we put a link to the Conrad Orlando, which is, what Jamie kind of presented as a competing property. Last thing before we go, Jamie, we kind of pitched this place as a staycation. Would you stay here and go to any of the parks? Like, is this what you would consider a Disney hotel? Would this be a Universal hotel? Do you need to be doing like a blended vacation to maybe option this out? Like, where do you put it at?
I mean, it's going to be closer to Universal than it is to Disney. This probably wouldn't be, if you were going to Orlando for Disney, this probably wouldn't be my choice. I would,
Okay.
and I say that because I'm a big fan usually if you're doing Disney staying on property because you get some additional benefits by staying on property,
Sure.
early entry or being able to stay late in the parks or just easy transportation. Not to say you couldn't do Disney because I did do Disney and Universal while I was staying here. It's just not the most convenient. I Ubered to both of them. Like I said, Universal was like a 10 or 15 minute Uber. Disney was like 25 minutes. I probably wouldn't say it's a great hotel for doing parks. I think they offer transportation to both if you want to.
Okay.
Uber's so reasonable nowadays that I feel like I'm not going to go wait around for a bus to take me somewhere for the most part. I'd rather just pay the $15 or $20 in Uber to wherever I'm going.
Perfect. Well, guys, that's Ritz-Carlton Orlando. Please, 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 if you have any upcoming vacations, message us. Let us help you book. We would love to do it. We'll be back next week covering the Park Hyatt Seoul, far across the world from Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, reach out. Let us get you booked for 4th of July so you can tell us about all the fun activities going on.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. Thanks, guys.
See ya.